God says, "You are the salt and the light of this world." Light and darkness cannot mix. Light will always overshine darkness. Gabriel Hernandez's name represented his spirit, faith, healing, and strength, named after the Archangel Gabriel, given by his mother's ex-boyfriend. Some might say he died because of something called the family scapegoat syndrome, where one child is the subject of all the family's failing, their shame or regret, which was Gabriel Hernandez. The 8-year-old Latino boy didn't die because he was gay, but died because the world failed to protect him from the two monsters who lived in darkness. How is people who are hired to protect children from child abuse fail to do so? I am not going to lie, this documentary troubled my soul because of all the signs of abuse was there. I just could not believe what I was hearing and seeing. Darkness fell upon Palmdale, California on one night when 911 received a call from the apartment from Pearl Hernandez and her boyfriend, Asario Aguirre, about their son was not breathing. When EMS arrived, their eyes were surprised on what they saw in the apartment. EMS had to get Gabriel out the apartment because he had no pulse. While riding in the ambulance towards the hospital, the EMS worked on him to revive Gabriel, and they successfully got a pulse. EMS dispatched a call to Antelope Valley Hospital to be on standby. They have a severe trauma patient coming in. When Gabriel arrives at the hospital, he had no pulse. This day, Gabriel was fighting for his life. The hospital had to warm up his body because he was ice cold. Because his blood was so low, they had to give him a blood transfusion, and Gabriel lost his pulse once again when they was giving him a CAT scan. The hospital revived him once again and had to transfer him to a children's hospital in LA, which they kept him on life support. Before they transferred Gabriel to another hospital, they documented all the bruises he suffered from his abusers. The photos were so disturbing and horrific. It was sad to really look at the body that was so inflamed that you couldn't recognize him. Nobody at the hospital was prepared for what they was going to see that day. Gabriel Hernandez passed away on May 24, 2013 at 2:52 p.m. His death caught the attention of LA Times news reporter. Looked through a homicide blog that stated his age and how he died. The reporter tried calling around to get more information about his death. Gabriel Hernandez's death brought a shock to the system because it caught the attention of the Board of Supervisors, and they wanted to know how could this have happened under DFS jurisdiction, which is Department of Children and Family Services. The simple fact, how could this have happened when there was proof of child abuse? You have reports of people calling in to report child abuse from the teacher and security guard who worked at the county welfare office. Even the sheriff deputies came by the house on many occasions and nothing happened. I feel everybody was responsible for this boy's death, from the school officials, DFS sheriff, and the county welfare staff. Nobody challenged their boss's authority, and they didn't even report their bosses to the higher-ups. Nobody took an extra step to save Gabriel's life. You have a right to challenge your boss if you feel something is unorthodox that will put someone's life in danger. If it was me, I would have went over everybody's heads and deal with the consequences later. Children are so innocent, and they need adults to protect them from evil people in the world and give them guidance in life. Let's take a look into the abuser's life of whom they are. Pearl Hernandez was a disturbed woman who suffered physical and mental and substance abuse. She had been gang raped and been through attempted rape as a child and an adult. Over time, her abuse caused her to have limited intellectual capacity, personal disorder, and eating disorder, which caused her to also have a very bad temper. Pearl had 3 kids who all had the same father. The way she treated Gabriel, you would have thought the boyfriend was the father of the other 2 kids. Pearl's boyfriend had 2 sides to him. To the outside world, he gave the impression that he was a nice, good guy and would go up and beyond to help someone. Then behind closed doors, he was tormenting a young boy with the help of the young boy's mother. Because of Gabriel's abuse, someone may think he was never loved, but that's not true. Gabriel was a handsome boy who had a smile to light up the room. He was playful with his siblings and other kids. Gabriel was smart, sweet, and kind with a gentle soul. Gabriel was loved by his great uncle, Michael, and his husband, David, and they loved him like he was their own son. When Pearl was pregnant with Gabriel, she never wanted the pregnancy from day one. Her ex-boyfriend, Louis, who named Gabriel, and Gabriel's great uncle, Michael, and his husband, David, convinced her to keep the baby, while the rest of the family didn't want her to have the baby either. When Gabriel was 3 days old, and she left Gabriel behind in the hospital, where she called her uncle and his husband to come get Gabriel because he was getting on her nerve. Michael and David raised Gabriel and showed him unconditional love, and Gabriel loved them back. The couple kept Gabriel clean, and with them, the boy was happy and always smiling. David said that was my son. He will always be in his heart. They raised Gabriel until he was 3 years old, because the grandfather thought the boy should not be raised by a gay couple. Around 3 years old, Gabriel went to live with his grandparents, and 6 months before his death, he went to live with his mother. When Gabriel was in his mother's custody, someone called DFS, making a statement that Gabriel was molested by the gay couple. David denied allegations, and I don't think that they did it either. I believe Pearl made that call because if Gabriel was taken out of her custody, he wouldn't go back to the great uncle and husband, while knowing that they really loved Gabriel and Gabriel loved them back. On May 23rd, 2013, Detective Elliot Uribe interviewed her and the boyfriend. He confessed that he hit the boy all over the body except the face. Jackie Lacey, the district attorney, was not here for it. She wanted the death penalty for Gabriel's mother and her boyfriend. Pearl Hernandez and Asaria Agari was charged with capital murder. I am a person that don't believe in the death penalty at all because it doesn't solve the issue from children being abused in their homes. All you have is another dead body on your hands. The death penalty is another way not to have overcrowded prisons. Jackie Lacey also charged the 4 social workers with felony charge and falsifying public records, which I believe they should have been charged. All I know, the crime photos look like a murder scene. It was blood everywhere, all over the floor, the walls, back, sink, and they held Gabriel in a small cupboard, which had blood all over it, as well as 2 guns. Jonathan Hamadi was the prosecutor of the case with Scott Yang. They start the preparation for the trials of Gabriel Hernandez, where there would be 3 separate trials. First one would be with Asaria Agari, the second one with Pearl Hernandez, and the third one would be with the 4 social workers. Jack Lee explains why the complex child abuse unit was created. The the importance of understanding medicine and science of abuse, looking into evidence of patterns of abuse in medical files to build a case for them to prosecute someone. On October 16, 2017, court begins, and Jonathan explains how he will research on the defense attorney Michael, who is a Saudi Arabia attorney. I'm saying to myself, how could this man even afford him? He don't even seem like no legal aid attorney. Opening statement leading down what the evidence will reveal in the case. Michael defense was he beat the boy to death because he was in a blind rage, or he was under the influence of his girlfriend. Jonathan gives his opening statement by thanking the jurors for being there and then comparing the abuser to the victim by their ages, weight, and height. Assertor Garrity was 32, 6'2", and 275 pounds, and Gabriel Hernandez was 8, 4'1", and 59 pounds. Demonstrating that Azaria Agari of being a monster and being bigger and stronger than the small little boy who didn't have the power to defend himself against his attacker. When the defense team gave their opening statement, I don't believe they believe in what they were saying, because there's really no defense to this case about how you tormented a boy over a period of time. Prosecutor calls witnesses to the stand to testify, and their statements are strong enough to convict both abusers. The EMTs and detectives testify based on what they saw and heard. The EMT statements are they performed CPR and began to notice bruises over his body, and this was not cardiac arrest situation. The EMT stated that both abusers was not concerned about the well-being of Gabriel. The defense team played the 911 call, trying to prove that he did not intend to kill Gabriel by calling 911. Prosecutor asked EMT, did he see Azaria performing CPR when he entered the door, or any blood on him at all? The EMT stated no, because the action of Azaria conflicted with the direction of the 911 call. The instruction was to perform CPR until EMT arrived. The detectives that interviewed Pearl and Azaria noticed that they was more concerned about a bunch of cats locked in a cage than the state of Gabriel's well-being. They was acting nervous, argumentative, standoffish. They was not concerned about his well-being because they knew what they did and did not care in the first place. That is why they killed him. They heard both abusers saying Gabriel was dirty, liar, and gay. Gabriel clothes underneath the sink and believed they made him wear a dress. I'm like, they had a daughter. We don't know if that was the daughter dress. And they never showed Gabriel wearing a dress. So we don't know about that. The doctor testified, giving a statement that the autopsy took 2 days to document all the bruises. The bruises he suffered was 2 bilateral broken ribs, which made it difficult for him to breathe, burnt marks on his neck and head, bite marks on his back, black eyes, BB gun pellets on his lungs and groins, cut above his genitals, an abrasion on his foot with lesion marks around his ankles. He suffered skull and fracture, which is subdural hematoma, which was described as soft and crunchy. The doctor compared a normal thymus gland in a child to Gabriel. A normal thymus gland will weigh 35 to 50 grams. Gabriel's thymus gland weighed 10 grams, which was barely there, and this was due to sequelae of blood force trauma and child neglect by consequences. They show photos of socks which they used to put in his mouth, a bandana to cover his face, handcuffs, and the cupboard they had him sleep in. The most shocking and disturbing thing, Gabriel had no food content in his belly, but something that looked like gravel, and it turned out to be cat litter. I said, you can't be serious. They fed this boy cat litter? That is sick. There was a text between Pearl and Osorio about the abuse of Gabriel. That it was like some kind of foreplay. And it revealed Pearl was looking at murder cases. There is no word for this. All the evidence showed all the evil in the courtroom of all the terrible things they did to Gabriel. Looking into the failure of all levels with DFS, school officials, and the sheriffs. Mistakes, DFS failed to take action. First line of failure is when the teacher reported that Gabriel was beaten with a metal part of the belt which caused his butt to bleed. DFS did come to the house, but they failed to ask Gabriel about the abuse situation. DFS and the school should have had a meeting together to monitor the situation. The second line of failure is when Gabriel's mother handed the in-home counselor a suicide note when she was leaving. The in-home counselor called the abuse hotline. The DFS woman only talked to Pearl and not Gabriel. When it comes to suicide, this is a real issue. You cannot afford to make any mistakes with this. DFS should have came to the home and removed Gabriel from the home and placed him into a church's facility where he could have been examined physically and saw a psychologist. Multiple reports came from the teacher and the abuse kept getting worse, and when the school turned a blind eye. Further steps could have been taken by the teachers, such as going into the Board of Education, explaining the situation, and gave them information to look into it, or have gotten the news involved, something. The sheriff treated Gabriel like a criminal instead of providing a safe haven for him. I thought those sheriffs should have been fired. They are hired to protect, and they failed to do so. Even a security guard at the county welfare office even put in a complaint to the police and told the welfare staff. The welfare saw these bruises and did nothing. Because of money, nobody was not going to get paid overtime. Gabriel was missing school for 13 days. Why didn't the school do a welfare check on him? And when he returned from school, the teacher had him do a school project, taking a picture with all those bruises on him instead of calling an ambulance and having him checked out at the hospital. I believe Pearl Hernandez's intent was to kill her son with the help of her boyfriend, Hazaro Agari. Pearl was not crazy. She just let people think she was crazy. Because she never treated the other two kids in the manner the way she treated Gabriel. And also, she also took a plea deal for life in prison. Osorio Agari, I believe, fought the case not because he thought he was innocent, because he didn't want to live with the guilty conscience of tormenting Gabriel. Because what adult in their right mind would have went along with tormenting a child? David, the great-uncle husband, didn't pick up on the hint what Gabriel was saying. One of the family cried and said, I should have taken him. Why didn't she? Why she didn't try to get custody of him in family court? Nobody fought hard enough for Gabriel to go before a family judge for him to tell his story. She went back to correct the error of terminating the pregnancy and terminated his life at the age of 8. There was never a connection between Pearl and Gabriel since birth. Gabriel's friend, Kiera Moore, said it best. It was not a stranger that killed him, but his own parent. The community still do a memorial in front of the house on a tree for Gabriel. The city of Palmdale created Gabriel's House Performing Arts Center that serves children in the Antelope Valley. 2 weeks later, there was an incident of a 10-year-old boy named Anthony Alvarez who died of child abuse. Rest in peace, Gabriel, and all the children like him. Like for in remembrance of Gabriel. Comment on your thoughts about it. God is on my side. Have a blessed day.